And now I'm going to officially kick off this session today, the story of DataCite in 2025. I am Maria Gould, the Director of Strategic Programs and Partnerships at DataCite. I'll be joined in this session today with our Executive Director, Matt Bays. And we're setting the stage in this session today to reflect on where we are as an organization and as a community as we conclude the year 2025 and reflect on what we've been doing, reflect on where we're headed, reflect as well on the fact that this is, I guess, DataCite's 16th anniversary. And so looking backwards, looking forwards to all that we've been working on together and all that is yet to come. So we're really happy to have all of you here today. I'm seeing some familiar names and faces as well as some new ones. Feel free to use the webinar chat to say hello if you wish. We'll also be doing some discussions and Q&A toward the end of the session. Please use the Q&A box in the Zoom toolbar. If you have a specific question, we'll get to it at the end. And one final note, because we are doing a number of different sessions today and the metadata session is immediately after this one, we're going to try to wrap up this one as quickly as we can to give everybody a quick break in between if you're planning to join us for both. So the plan for today, I'm going to hand over to Matt to just set the stage with some opening reflections. Then I'll talk through the story of where we are now and where we're headed. And we'll conclude with some thoughts and ideas to celebrate the DataCite community and invite everybody to join us in the years and chapters ahead. So on that note, I'm going to pass off to Matt Bays.
Great, thanks very much, Maria. And it's just fantastic to be here again, another year. And I think I've said this for the last 5 or so years, that we continue to go from strength to strength, and this collective effort across the community, across the team at DataCite is just really inspirational and fantastic to realize what we can achieve as a global community. And I think through the series of the sessions in the community meeting, both this session and the other sessions, you'll hear both from the staff at DataCite, but also really important insights and presentations from community members about the collective work that we're doing. And so I wanted to start with a few brief opening reflections. And if you jump into the next slide, Maria. Really what we've seen through the period of the current multi-year strategic plan that we are concluding and wrapping up this year as we move into the next strategic plan is this period of sustained growth. And that's been really good for us as a community because our strength lies in the collective efforts and the collective integrations across the community. And so this has allowed us to evolve as a balanced, scalable membership and fee model as an organization, as a community, which supports our long-term stability, but ultimately the investments that you as a community make into open infrastructure. So this is really important. We've seen expanded adoption and so global engagement around DOI registrations, specifically also focusing, and this will continue to be a theme as we continue to evolve and refine our strategy in the next multi-year strategy, but the richer, more useful metadata, and you'll hear us talking a lot more about utility of metadata. We've really focused on catalyzing innovation, and specifically what we mean here is being able to deliver high impact outcomes through time-limited funding initiatives. And so specifically seeking out funded projects where we can invest in specific services or specific community initiatives where we've been able to catalyze that innovation as a global community. We continue to focus on being a trusted open infrastructure. DataCite was founded in 2009 by the research community for the research community, and we remain grounded in that today. And so it's important that we maintain that commitment to CC0 metadata, that we continue to have open APIs, and we continue to have a transparent community governance as we work together. And as I've mentioned probably 10 times just in this last couple of minutes, it's that global collaboration, that strength and partnerships that we've had across the research ecosystem, both with our members, integrators, policymakers, other open infrastructure providers. That's really the strength of that ecosystem, and continuing to work together to advance open research. Really just briefly to reflect on some numbers, looking very high level, and I'll add here that we do look more deeply at some of these metrics because it's more meaningful what's behind some of these metrics. But at a high level, we have 1,700 organizations across 66 countries around the globe. We have over 105 million DOI metadata records that are openly findable and discoverable. And we're seeing increasingly reuse of the DOI records. And so to date, this year, we've seen over 670 million resolutions in 2025. And so this is really important, and important to see that reuse of those DOIs. And so those are just some brief reflections. Maria will now lead into a bit more about the journey and the story that we're on together.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt, for setting the stage and helping contextualize what the story has looked like over the past several years, and how that brings us to a critical point of our growth and evolution as an organization and as a community right now. So on that note, I want to share some additional reflections about where we are right now and where we're headed. And we deliberately decided to title this session "The Story of DataCite in 2025," because we wanted to shed some narrative, some light, and some context on what DataCite means to the global research community at this moment. And we also wanted to take the opportunity to reflect a little bit on not just what are the exciting parts of the story right now, but what are some aspects of the DataCite story that we see as pointing to opportunities for change or improvement or growth. So the story of DataCite is not just about all of the wonderful things that are happening, but it's also a story of how we continue trying to improve and to evolve and to innovate. So I was reflecting on this right now, and some of you, may know I love to garden outside of work. I come from a very small town in a rural community in the United States, and so when I think about the work that we do at DataCite with the infrastructure and services and community activities that we support, my mind often goes to metaphors of gardening and ecosystems and ecology. So that's why I often bring it up in these kinds of presentations as a framework for talking through our story. And so when I'm reflecting on where we are right now at DataCite as we bring 2025 to a close, and as we look ahead to next year and the year beyond, I think it's a combination of a lot of work that has happened this year for us to put down more roots, to become more firmly established in the global research community as an essential infrastructure provider, and also to bring in a lot more inputs to this ecosystem to nurture and cultivate and enhance what we're working on. And thirdly, to reach toward the sun, to reach toward the sky, and to try to imagine new possibilities for growth. So those are a few things that are guiding our work right now. And I wanted to talk through what that means through a few key example stories that I think reflect these different dimensions of what we're doing. And the first story I wanted to highlight is the story of our community and what we've been doing to grow our membership, to grow the broader community of users and stakeholders and collaborators that participate in different initiatives and activities with us. And so one story that is representative of that work is a blog post that we put out at the midpoint of this year, reflecting on how our community is growing and the kinds of use cases that some of our newest members are seeing DataCite as a solution for. So this blog post, which Paul is helpfully linking in the chat, is just one representative example of the types of work that has been underway to grow our community and to look at further areas for growth. And so when I'm reflecting on where we are now, and where we're going and what we need to focus on, I think a few things are clear and a few lessons are being learned. And one is that DataCite is continuing to adapt and will continue to need to adapt to emerging and innovative use cases for the global research community. And we're accomplishing that in different ways, or striving to accomplish that in different ways. For instance, expanding the resource types that are available in our metadata schema to suit new use cases. Last year and this year, we've been working on supporting communities that want to register DataCite DOIs for awards and grants, for instruments, for projects, and some of the other newer resource types that have been added to our schema recently. We've also been looking a lot at the state of adoption right now in terms of who's currently using our services and where are the gaps and needs. We have different stats and numbers that we've seen where our DOI registrations are growing. We'll get to that in a minute. But we also see some opportunities for current members to do more with us. And so a lot of the work that is underway right now is trying to understand how we can better support some of our existing members and users and getting the most out of their membership experience and getting the most out of our services. And third, we're really seeing how important it is to talk openly about what we're working on and to recognize what's working well, to highlight that, and also to acknowledge where we need more guidance and feedback from the community to help shape our directions. And so as an open infrastructure provider and as a community governed organization, it's really important that we have an ethos of being transparent, working in the open, and sharing what we're learning as we go along. And so that principle is really core to what we're doing now and to what we'll be doing as we move forwards. So the second story that I wanted to highlight is the story of what we're doing to steward our metadata store. The DataCite metadata store is really at the heart of what makes DataCite DataCite. It's the place where all of our member organizations are sharing information about their research outputs and resources and activities. And it's a crucial and vital source of information that downstream services and users are relying upon to enrich and integrate into other systems. And so this is a vitally important, the metadata store is a vitally important source for not just for DataCite being DataCite, but also for the global community. And we've been reflecting a lot on not just what is great about the metadata store, but also what needs to happen in order for our metadata store to be more useful, to be more valuable. So that's actually the key thing that we'll be talking about in the session that follows right after this one. And a few things as we're reflecting on this area of focus is, celebrating that DataCite metadata is playing this critical role, but also being honest and recognizing that there's more to be done to make DataCite metadata more vital and more valuable and more useful. And so we've been working a lot this year, and we'll be continuing to work next year on the multiple set of strategies and interventions and tools that we can implement and advance to help drive better metadata quality, metadata completeness, and precision for various downstream uses. We know that there's a lot of work that members are doing to share their metadata with us. There's a lot of activities happening with those who are harvesting and consuming DataCite metadata. And we know also that there are opportunities within the tools and infrastructure that we support at DataCite to try to make all of that metadata more useful and usable for everyone. So this is the second key area of focus and the second key story that has really been part of 2025 and will continue to be part of 2026 and beyond. And the third story about 2025 that I wanted to highlight is a story about nurturing our infrastructure. And the representative story or blog post that I wanted to highlight in this vein is the blog post that we published last month about reaching the milestone of 100 million DOIs in DataCite. This was, by all accounts, a very exciting and important milestone to reach, but we also wanted to emphasize and to take the opportunity to reflect on what reaching that milestone means and also what it doesn't mean. And so the story of this milestone is really about what it means for DataCite as an organization, as a community, to be able to support 100 million DOIs in a technical sense, what it means from the standpoint of all of the different organizations that have contributed those DOIs over the years to our system, and that all of these 100 million DOIs have metadata that is vitally useful and important, as I was just saying, for various downstream uses and purposes around discovery and reuse and tracking and impact. And I want to also recognize, as part of celebrating this milestone, it's also been an opportunity to reflect on some of the things that this milestone obscures. For instance, as we look into some of the numbers that we're seeing with DOI registrations, we are seeing that in part we're reaching this milestone because of high volume registrations from a smaller subset of our membership. That is totally great, but as I was mentioning earlier, we're also seeing that some of our members may not be registering as many DOIs as they for all of the different outputs that they have. And so part of celebrating this milestone is also looking at what are some of the opportunities that we have to drive further adoption across our membership, across prospective members, help them get the most out of the DOI services and metadata services that we offer, so that DataCite continues to be this place where millions, hundreds of millions of DOIs for all types of research outputs can be discovered and reused. So what we'll be thinking about as we bring 2025 to a close and look ahead to next year is that for us, nurturing our infrastructure is more than just a technical challenge. There's obviously a fundamental technical aspect to being able to support 100 million DOIs in the sense of scaling, in the sense of resilience and technical efficiency. We're also recognizing that as our metadata store continues to grow, as the number of connections that we are bringing into that metadata store continue to grow, we need to keep adapting and innovating our technology to be able to support that over time. And infrastructure is also more than technical in the sense that we have humans who are using the infrastructure, and we need to really nurture engagement and collaborations across our community to cultivate partnerships that really extend the reach and impact of our infrastructure and help our users maximize their experience with it. And our infrastructure in an operational sense is really about what we're doing as an organization to ensure our long-term viability and sustainability. And so we've been doing a lot of work this year and will continue next year into looking at how does our membership model and our revenue models support these overall strategic aims that Matt was talking about. And also, what do we need to be doing as an organization in terms of our internal operating structures to ensure that we can keep adapting to all of these community needs that we are seeing, also to be able to be prepared for different kinds of external challenges that might be posed as the world continues to change. So these are some really fundamental challenges that are important to think about when we think about what it means to be nurturing our infrastructure. So that kind of brings me to, if these are the stories that have been part of our year in 2025, what does this mean in terms of the story for DataCite's future? And I'm really seeing that as we're moving into next year, the story of the future is to extend this metaphor of ecology is really about what we can do to strengthen our roots. And also what we can do to think about our work as being part of a broader collective effort of stewardship of scholarly metadata for the world to benefit from. And it's also a story in that sense of looking at the diversity of inputs that we might bring into our ecosystem that can benefit not just the work that we're doing with our metadata and our infrastructure, but also that can benefit the world. So those are some of the reflections that I have in my mind as we think about what we've been up to this year and where we're headed. And on that note, I wanted to acknowledge that this is not something we're doing in a vacuum. This is something that we're doing with community input and community collaboration every step of the way. And so I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge all of the work that our members and users and collaborators have been doing to help us reach these milestones this year, and also to invite others to continue participating in what we're doing as we move forwards. So the first opportunity for those who haven't yet had a chance to become more involved in our community is to look at different ways that that could look for you. So we have opportunities for research organizations to become a member, to register DOIs, to register their metadata, to have access to our APIs. We also have a number of community groups and working groups that members and non-members are able to participate in to help us make key decisions and chart key pathways for our services and technology, for our community engagement, for our metadata and other topics. And we also do a number of events throughout the year, not just this one, and also support community members who are interested in organizing events in their own networks. And so those are some key ways that we hope to continue engaging with our member community and broader community in the year ahead. And another key pathway for involvement is to deepen engagement with our services and infrastructure, or to get started from the get-go. So different ways that we make that possible are to become a service provider, which we'll be posting about in the chat, to build an integration with our APIs and other services, and also to play an active role in consuming and analyzing and harvesting DataCite metadata, which is a key area of focus for us right now. And then lastly, to just continue to share your use cases and your feedback with us. We really depend on knowing from you what's working well, what could work better, where do you see possibilities for DataCite to grow, whether that's a new use case, a new resource type, a new membership opportunity, a new partnership. So we really hope to continue an active dialogue with everyone about the suggestions and ideas that that you have for where DataCite can continue to grow as we continue to move into our next chapters. So on that note, I wanted to take a moment and see if this story sparks any specific questions for anyone here. If there's anything that you want to learn more about, if you would like to share what you think the story of DataCite should be in 2026, you're welcome to use the chat box or the Q&A box to either post a comment or a question. All right. I'm seeing one question coming in. If there are any special skill sets needed for the working groups, that's a great question. I think we have a link to share about the application process. We have an open call for working group participation right now. We're currently inviting applications for a few specialized groups, one that's focused more on DataCite's services and technology development, another that's focused on community engagement, and a third that's focused on our metadata schema. So there's no specific set of expertise or requirements, but we are looking for people who have some level of experience in those areas that they are interested in contributing to what DataCite is doing. Thank you for your question. Is there anything else anybody is curious about, or are there any ideas that anybody would like to share about what they want the story of DataCite to be in 2026? I will take a moment then to encourage and invite everyone to share their thoughts after this session in the DataCite community survey. I know sometimes it's hard to think of feedback in the moment, so we're offering this survey, which is available through December 1st for all of our members, and also anyone else in the community who does anything with DataCite to give us feedback and share thoughts about things that are working well, areas for improvement, and other types of ideas. So we really hope to hear from you. We'll also be sharing this link in different channels, but wanted to make it available here as well. All right. Yes, and as Paul is noting in the chat, the survey is super quick, should only take about 3 minutes, we hope, and we really appreciate any amount of time you're able to give to share your thoughts with us. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining this session today. We hope to see you at the metadata session that will be happening at the top of the hour. We also hope to see you at some of the member panel sessions later on, and hope to hear from you in the survey and other channels as we move forwards. Thank you all for joining.
There's one question, Maria, in the Q&A.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry, Paul. From Bassem, thank you for your question. This is about the Global Access Fund. Will it continue beyond 2025? We hope to continue supporting the Global Access program in general in some form. We are looking at different opportunities in terms of funding at the moment, which is a challenge. So I would say the idea is that we will be able to provide some support, but it is not currently confirmed, and we'll continue to share updates as we have them. Thank you for your question. So yes, it's great to see everyone. I will stick around if there are any other questions that come in. I'm seeing one from Mabruka. This question from Mabruka, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, if you are interested in talking to us about DOIs, you're welcome to send us an email and we can set up a meeting to talk about it. All right, anyone still here? Would you like to ask anything? Okay, I think I'm going to close the Zoom and hope to see folks in the next session.